We are already seeing warming. We're seeing melting of glaciers. We're seeing the beginnings of sea level rise. We anticipate, or it is projected, that rainfall is going to change, maybe heavier, maybe in a drought situation. And all that is going to happen to some degree in the next decades. And so no matter where this debate goes on the science and the environment, we think that from a national security perspective, that we ought to, that we as a nation and we as a military ought to study it just like we study all other risks.
In the fall of 2006, 11 senior retired military leaders came together to look at one key question. What could global climate change mean to the American military and to U.S. national security? Working with the CNA Corporation, a preeminent nonprofit military analysis center, these 3-star and 4-star admirals and generals pooled their worldwide expertise into a military advisory board and found that this one key question, the implications of climate change on national security, led to many more.
What kinds of missions would we face? What kinds of tasks would we get in the military? What kinds of events would occur out there that we see coming that we need to be prepared to do? Is our force structure, our training, our doctrine adequate for that? Do we need to make adjustments in the traditional ways militaries make adjustments in their doctrine, their organization, their training, their education, their resources? That's what we're saying we need to take a hard look at this point.
As a military person, one of the things that plagues our minds for planning is the intensity of storms. And just from getting ships and aircraft and moving things from one place to another or conducting military operations anywhere in the world, if the storms are a much higher intensity, that's a big deal. I mean, that will affect how we operate. It'll affect how sensors operate. It'll affect how people operate.
And I think that puts a burden on us as the people who are charged with military security of the United States of America. Defense is to at least understand what's going on and think about it. Think about how we would apply the power of the United States in situations such as the ones we're talking about. Natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, droughts, pandemic, flu.
In April 2007, the Military Advisory Board and the CNA Corporation issued a major report, National Security and the Threat of Climate Change. The study looks first at geostrategic implications. When climates change significantly or environmental conditions deteriorate to the point that necessary resources are not available, societies can become stressed, sometimes to the point of collapse, the report says. As one admiral noted, climate change will provide the conditions that will extend the war on terror, more poverty, more forced migrations, higher unemployment. Those conditions are ripe for extremists and terrorists. The 11 admirals and generals on the Military Advisory Board, who commanded U.S. forces across the globe, added their voices of experience on regional impacts of climate change and our armed forces in Africa, Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and in the Western Hemisphere. The leaders presented their report at a Washington news conference.
Just to get those on the record, we have 4 findings. First and foremost, most importantly, projected climate change poses a serious threat to America's national security. Second, climate change acts as a threat multiplier for instability in some of the most volatile regions of the world. Third, projected climate change will add to tensions even in stable regions of the world. And fourth, climate change, national security, and energy dependence are a related set of global challenges. In short, climate change is and must be recognized as a threat to our national security.
Ultimately, for General Sullivan and the other Military Advisory Board members, The original key question, what are the security implications of climate change, came down simply to this: readiness does not require certainty. We never have 100% certainty, said General Sullivan. We never have it. If you wait until you have 100% certainty, something bad is going to happen on the battlefield.
In the long term, if we don't think one of our responsibilities is to leave the world better for the follow-on, whether our grandchildren or whoever else, we're making a huge mistake. So we have the responsibility to do something now, and militarily it's part of it.
I certainly will never forget, ever, looking out the window at the Earth. It was just a stunning, beautiful view, and it really is quite fragile. I guess the thing that always just struck me was how little of it is atmosphere. Just a few molecules that allow us to breathe and protect us from solar radiation, and anything that humans do to that, whether it's ozone depletion or putting pollutants into the atmosphere, is going to be very important to us in the very long term.
There may be some debate as to degree and effect, but the point is, if you just write off the science, if you don't accept what seems to me to be the majority view, then you're saying you're going to roll the dice and take the chance. And I think if you look at the potential outcomes of that, we would see that for our children, our grandchildren, that could be a disaster. And they'll look back at us and say, you should have seen this. You should have taken the prudent course of action and prepared for this. You should have taken the actions to lessen the impact.